Well, this morning my MacBook Air arrived. Look at it. It's so thin. And because I've been using it for a day, that obviously makes me an expert on it, so I'm going to tell you what I think. First of all, let's clear up why I bought a MacBook Air as opposed to like a MacBook Pro or a MacBook, or indeed some other kind of computer that is not a Mac. Basically, the reason why I bought a MacBook Air is because I put a premium on looking the most pretentious as I possibly can. No, there's a real reason. The real reason is, in buying a MacBook Air, first you really have to understand what your needs are. And for me, I definitely don't play games on the computer, despite there being a Wii and an Xbox 360 behind me. I don't play games on the computer, and I don't really do anything processor intensive. All I do on my computer is internet stuff and programming. Design I sometimes do on a laptop, but frankly I prefer to do it on a desktop, so you know, I don't really need a laptop that does anything other than the absolute basics, and I'm very much prepared to pay a premium for one that saves me, weight, and is of the kind of quality that I've come to expect, being a rabid Mac fanboy. So anyway, that's why I bought a MacBook Air. I place a premium on all the things that this represents, which is like portability and getting rid of features that I'm really not going to use. Like, I can't even remember the last time I actually used the CD drive in my PowerBook. I don't burn CDs anymore. If you do, you're wasting CDs. You just use a USB stick memory thing. What else? And I'm the most boring computer user in the world, basically. So a MacBook Air suits me fine. Makes up for the lack of personality that I have. Anyway, let's get on to the good and the bad. First of all, the bad. The bad, there's always bad. I'm an objective reviewer, I'm not a total Mac fanboy. The bad thing is, this was like $2,000, so that's the bad out of the way. It's a decent chunk above the MacBook. And you only really pay a tiny little bit more and you can get a MacBook Pro. So if you're complaining about lack of features on the MacBook Air, buy a MacBook Pro. But I'm most certainly not complaining about the lack of features. It has, it's almost perfect for me in terms of feature set. On with the bad though. As with all Revolution A Apple products, Apple have this kind of cavalier attitude to releasing new products. They just kind of, just throw them out there, see what happens, People buy it, breaks, fix it, I've actually never bought a Revolution A Apple product after one very bad experience with an iBook way back in like 2001 or something. And that thing would not stop breaking. Everything that could break on it did, and I think I must have sent it in like 3 or 4 times. So after that, I thought, no, just wait for Revolution B before I buy any new Mac product. But this time I really needed a new computer, so I went with the Revolution A. And there are a few niggly things that I feel will probably be worked out in Revolution B. And it might even be an isolated case where mine is just the only computer in this Revolution that has these defects. I think they are defects, basically. One of them is there's a very tiny fan inside, obviously, and when I tilt the computer, the fan makes a very nasty sound. It sounds like it's kind of rubbing against something when I tilt it. So it goes brrr, brrr. It's almost like a lightsaber sound, but less cool. What else is there that I don't like? Oh, the space bar has some kind of annoying, sticky... There's something underneath that, and it's not right, and occasionally when I press the space bar, it makes a very loud, sticky sound, and I don't like that, because just as much as anyone, I like spaces between my words, and therefore I tend to use the space bar quite a lot. What else? Oh, for some reason it takes about 20 seconds to sleep, which is weird. So you close the machine, and my PowerBook would just go out like that, and it would sleep. It would be in sleep mode. But this thing, you'll shut it, and it will be still kind of ticking and wearing away for a good 20 seconds until it actually finally goes to sleep. So I'm not too happy about that. What am I happy about? Uh, it's incredibly sexy. It's more than the speed. The speed is more than adequate. I don't really do many processor intensive things. Um, I don't know what the most processor intensive thing is. I might occasionally SCP like tens of thousands of files off a remote server. I don't know if that's processor intensive or not, but anyway. What else do I like? Oh, the multi-touch gestures for the trackpad is awesome! That's going to be in every computer from now on. Seriously, it's really cool. Moving away from, this idea of the interface as like a vast array of icons with metaphors for every possible thing that a human being can do and a human being with tools can do. So the more of these, the better, I think, and the more intuitive they are, the better. And there's, you've got this one for rotating and this one for zooming in and out. Those are quite cool. And there's also, I don't know how useful these are, but 3 fingers back and forward makes you go like left and right in documents and stuff. Nah. What they need is like a spatial sensor, so that to turn the page you just go like that, like a page turning gesture. Anyway, what else do I like? It's really light. It's super. I mean, obviously it's very thin, but it's also really light, and it's great for meetings because you can just grab it and run to the meeting, and slides nicely into your bag, and it gives great blowjobs. So I'm really happy with it, and I recommend you buy one. I recommend you buy 5. No, but seriously, if your job is anything like mine, and you put a premium on portability, and you don't need features, you don't need lots of fancy stuff. All you need is to be connected to the internet, and then you can basically